Okay, hello. It's Tuesday. At least where I am, it's Tuesday. So, if it's your Tuesday, come on in. Spend a little time in my little world with me for a moment. You know, I think there are a lot of people who talk. A lot of people who talk a lot. Some people talk more than others. Quit pointing the finger at me. Anyway, seriously. You know what I mean. There are people that they just love to talk, feel like they've got something to say, so they just keep talking. It seems like there are plenty of people who think they've got a lot to say, that you kind of wonder, do they really have very much to say? Mother used to say sometimes that I think he's just talking to hear his head rattle. Was anybody really listening? You know, my grandfather, my mother's father, when he got old, his hearing got really pretty bad. We'd sit down and the family would be together, and in the midst of a conversation, my grandfather would just start talking. He didn't really know what everybody else was talking about, but he would just start talking about something, telling a story about this or that or the other. And one time my grandmother leaned over and she said, I think somebody vaccinated the old man with a phonograph needle. He did like to talk, visit, tell a story. He was just a good old boy. And there are a lot of people who like to talk. Sometimes people talk with meaning too, don't they? At least they believe they have meaning. You know, politicians and others, they're going to say what they think they need to say on the occasion they need to say it and so forth. And then there are people who, when they say something, you know, it really has meaning. There was a preacher at a local congregation here not too long ago. I used to love to get his bulletin. He would always have something to say in his church bulletin. Usually it was very short, but I found out this guy could say more in a couple of lines than many of us could say in a page. It's a gift. It's a talent. You know, when people came to hear Jesus, they recognized he really had something to say. Sometimes it aggravated them. Sometimes it moved them. I think about it in John chapter 7. I think it's in verse 32. Some of the leaders, the religious leaders, sent some temple guards, if you will, officers of the temple out to get Jesus. They wanted to bring him in. They really wanted to get rid of him. They'd have killed him if they could have at that time. And when those guards came back, when those officers came back, they didn't have Jesus with them. And so the chief priests, the Pharisees, and others, the leaders, said, why have you not brought him back? They knew he was around. They knew where he was. Why haven't you brought him back? I love the line. John chapter 7, verse 46 said, no man ever spoke like this. That great note at the end of the Sermon on the Mount, when the people had listened to Jesus and all those beautiful things that he had to say, those marvelous, touching, and moving and thought-provoking things that he had to say, said they were astonished at his teaching. I think we've lost something when we just talk for the sake of talking. Or we just talk because we feel like somebody has to say something. Or we just talk because we want to play along. The politician who wants to just get people on his side. The politician who wants to just provoke and aggravate or belittle the person running against him or her. I don't know about you, but I get pretty sick of those things. Tired of them. Of course, most of you know today's an election day, and I hope most of the advertisements are gone. I'm just tired of listening to them. Usually I pay as little attention as I can. Maybe you do too. I just get tired. I'd much rather hear somebody say something of value, something that we can take home and use in our lives. If preachers, like even me, could learn that, maybe sermons would be a little shorter. regardless whether they're short or long, have something to say. It's attributed to Abraham Lincoln. Now, I don't know whether he really said it or not, but it sounds pretty good, so we'll go with that. Said, I'd rather keep my mouth shut and be thought a fool. You know the rest of it. Or to open it and remove all doubt. I like those officers that came back and said, no man ever spoke like this one. It's pretty powerful. If we stop and think about what we have to say and how we're going to say it, it might make a big difference. Pretty closely, again, to what your mother probably told you somewhere along the line. If you don't have something good to say, don't say anything at all. Pretty good advice on a day like today. So maybe if I don't have anything else good to say, I'd have just shut my mouth. So nonetheless, it's a great day. Say something good today. And if you don't have something good to say, let's just keep the mask on and keep it closed. Okay. Have a great day. We'll look forward to sharing things in the days to come.